Okay. Hello. So, it's Sunday as I'm recording this. I'll probably end up posting this the same day, but if not, how's it going? How are you today? Okay. So, recently, I had someone relatively close to me remind me how hateful people can be. And I'm hesitant to say that it was my brother, which isn't super relevant, but it's a piece of information. Without getting into too many details, I said something that was relatively innocuous and it was met with hostility. And I will admit, I did allow it to upset me. But, and like, don't get me wrong, I already knew that this person was like feeling hateful towards me or whatever. But it's just baffling. It's just sad because a lot of the things he said when he was angry were things that he could have easily been saying to himself. You know what I mean? Because he brought up the fact that I used to be an atheist as if it was like a present moment information, as if it hadn't been literally years since I had identified as such. Because I used to identify as an atheist. I used to be an atheist before I fell onto the spiritual path, before I found my way to like where I am now. And it's crazy because like this isn't the first time that something like that was brought up, but it's also crazy because we don't talk. And so we don't have any sort of actual relationship where there would be any sort of understanding about each other. But at the same time, I do put myself out there. I do make videos and shit. And they know that. And I'm sure that they have seen some of it. I don't know. But at the least they've seen me record the videos. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to be joking. You have to be like purposely like feigning for ignorance because I don't know. I feel like it's pretty clear in like how I speak and like what I'm talking about, like what I believe. You know what I mean? And he also said a bunch of other stuff about me not having money and like needing to go do something with my life. And once again, these were all things that I literally, in the moment, I directed back to him because I was like, what are you talking about? Like, because in my head, I'm just like, I'm doing so much to make sure that that I have a decent life. You know, I'm making sure I'm doing so much to secure that for myself. So what are you talking about? Like, so I literally said, like, you must be talking to yourself because I already know what I'm doing with my life, bitch. Like, it reminded me. Also, I've been doing a lot of cuts in this, and I hope that doesn't affect. Oh my god, I should have been doing the millennial pause. Fuck me. But it reminded me how often people project their own BS onto others. Because once again, everything that he said was something that could be directed towards him. Because we both are living at our parents' house. Like, what are you talking about? Being like, what? Because he was really trying to say like, you're almost 30 and you're still living with your parents. Okay, you're also living with your parents. What? Because also, I have lived away from home. I have, you know what I mean? Like, you have always been here. So what are you talking about? How do you have the audacity to direct this energy towards me? Like, you've literally always lived at your parents' house. You're like, what are you talking about? And I'm glad that I have the ability to see through the BS and to like understand it for what it is, because none of what he was saying was justified. All of what he was saying was just coming from a place of like needing to feel superior for whatever stupid reason. And I don't know, it's weird to me. I was thinking before I recorded this, and this is what the video was going to be about, but I forgot about that. But I was thinking before I started recording, I was like, it's crazy how so many people want to feel superior, want to feel like they're important, but then they don't do shit to be important. It's like, there's that one line from that Melanie song where she's like, the selfish man who thinks that he's the prophecy. Like, so many people think like that. So many people think, and it's like, maybe you are special. Maybe God is talking to you. But it's like, you're not doing anything actively to like live up to that. So what the fuck should I respect you for? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? And like, yeah, sure, to some degree, my soul was like, oh yeah, what he's saying on some level is valid, because yeah, I should be doing more. I do think that about myself. I do think that I should be doing more with my life. But I feel like I'm also doing quite enough, and more than the average bear. You know what I mean? And then for him to be saying that, of all people, someone who literally just... And once, I'm not judging. I'm not being like, oh, that's bad. But like, for you to throw stones and you're like... You know what I mean? Literally hanging out all day, just smoking. You know, like, just, come on, man. Like, you of all people don't have the right to tell me what I need to be doing with my time. And I don't want to believe that this is an ego thing. I don't think that it is. More so, honestly, it's just really me being sad for him, because I'm like, how delusional are you that you think that you're justified in like talking to someone that way, you know? Because once again, I said something innocuous. That's how that started. Like, once again, without getting into too many details, there's a dog, and I was like, she's just being affectionate. Like, why are you so mad that she wants to be affectionate with me? And he responded with, shut up. And I was like, what? How about you don't talk to me like that? And once again, my fault for allowing him to like make me upset. I can own up to that, you know? But I think that thing that people say is really true, where people say like, some people, their karma is just existing as they are. Like, so there's no need to get a lick back. There's no need to get revenge. There's no need to like get even, because them just existing as the person that they are is enough of a punishment. You know what I mean? Like, legitimately. And maybe that's a hard thing to wrap your head around. I get it. But like, you know, those people who are just so insufferable, who are just so like grating to be around. Like, imagine being inside of those people's heads. Like, no. And I mostly made this video just to kind of vent, because I feel like I haven't really had the space to talk about this with anyone in a productive manner. You know what I mean? But also simultaneously, like I do with all of my videos, also to be a reminder for when you encounter certain energies like this, whether it's family, whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, like, just don't take it personal, because a lot of people lack self-awareness majorly. And because they lack that, they're not able to see how much damage they do. Like, and some people genuinely do know, don't get me wrong, some people do know what they're doing, and those people should be held accountable to the highest extent of whatever. You know what I mean? But there are also people who don't realize how much of a menace they are. I remember when I was away at rehab, there was this one individual, we didn't really get that close, but there was this one individual who stood out to me. And like, as I was watching him interact in the classroom, I could definitely tell that he was like, he was in his power. And I'm not one to be like against that in most cases. Like, if you're not actively hurting someone, it's like, do you, boo? You know what I mean? And he wasn't actively hurting anyone. He was a little annoying. He was a little bit obnoxious, maybe a little bit rude, maybe. But generally, he was just existing comfortably as himself. And as I was watching him, in my head, I was just like processing that and like, you know, separating between like me being offended by his presence and then just appreciating it and appreciating the moment for what it was. You know what I mean? But the reason why I bring up this person is because we were talking about energy vampires at some point, and I could definitely feel the shift within the atmosphere. I could definitely feel like a part of him kind of like trying not to face it in a serious manner, you know, because then we were talking about the importance of words and like how words are important. And at some point, somebody said something about like, you know, like energy, like vibration, like we really boiled it down to like, you know, words are energy, and like the energy that you put out is like, it affects the atmosphere. And as that was being discussed, I remember he was like, he he literally, I don't even remember, like, for example, because I don't think this was exactly what was said, but for example, let's say they were saying, like, I don't know, like the word destruction. And he repeated it, just like jokingly, I guess, like destruction, destruction, destruction. Like in a way, to me, what it felt like to me was like he was like purposely putting it into the atmosphere. And it was like, what? you're the one that we're talking about, buddy. You're the vampire here. And it's not in a judgmental way. It's not to say he was a bad guy. Once again, I don't think this person was a bad person at all. I just think that they were a little bit obnoxious. You know what I mean? And once again, that's not a crime. It's annoying to be around these people, but like, it's not a crime. And the thing that I took away from this individual was that sometimes you're going to be triggered by people, but that doesn't inherently make them a bad person. Because a lot of people like to spin the narrative and be like, oh, you're a bad person because you make me feel this way. No, you just don't know how to handle the energy that I carry. You know? So like, that's just really what that is. And because at some point I was visibly bothered, because like being in his presence really did irritate me. And so I excused myself, and I feel like I was I was visibly bothered. I was like agitated. I was like fidgeting and all that stuff. And so he asked me if I was okay, or if, like, I think he asked me if he had did something or something. And I was basically like, it's not your fault. Like, you're fine. You're a great dude. Like, I don't, like, you know. And I don't know how he translated that. I don't know how he interpreted that. But I was basically just communicating that, like, yes, you do bother me, but, like, it has nothing to do with you. You know? And I ended up making a TikTok about it later on about, you know, being triggered by other people's power, you know? Because that is a very triggering thing. It's a very polarizing thing. It's why a lot of celebrities are hated so much, because, you know, some people don't know how to regulate themselves. Some people don't know how to hold themselves when they're witnessing certain things. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the bottom line with that story and with my brother is just a reminder that, like, sometimes people are going to, like, trigger you. Sometimes people are going to piss you off for one reason or another. And you have to learn how to not take it personal. Like, even if someone is directly directing their energy towards you and being like, you're a fucking bitch, like, you have to be strong enough within yourself to be like, okay, this person is not right in their head. They're not, you know, like, they're not connected to love. They're not connected to divinity. Like, they like, no, that's not something we need to entertain. You know what I mean? And honestly, I just pray for these people. I really do. Because, like, ain't no way you right in the head and you send in hate to people. Ain't no way you right in the head and you are wishing to see people, like, suffer. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way. Of course, some of the gods are tricksters. Some of the gods are very questionable. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, at least from my perspective, from my heart-based understanding, like, people who operate that way are not things that we need to entertain, you know? And I feel like, I don't know, we could talk a lot about, like, popularity and how people want to be liked and people want to be accepted and shit like that, and that's why a lot of people, like, gravitate towards these sorts of people, you know? But that's not what this video is about. So I'm going to end this here. Thank you for listening. I hope this was useful. I hope this was helpful in some way. You should definitely consider subscribing if it was. And deuces.